Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I want to thank you and congratulate you and urge you to continue to really redo the new version of Grow America. Last year's version was covered all of the issues we need to cover, and I think covered it in a very solid way, from highways to transit to airports and freight and everything in between. Stay with it. I look forward to your bill, and I would hope that your version of the bill becomes the foundation for our work in a 6-year plan going forward. The issue of funding will be debated for a long time and hopefully resolved. But I think the American people really need to understand why we must do this. If they have a full understanding of the necessity of it, then the funding issue will follow much more easily. Thank you for going to some 40 states. You're welcome in my district anytime to explain why we need to do this, and I'll work with you on that. There are some very important policy issues in the Grow American Act, and I would hope they would be in the new legislation that you propose. Among them, the Buy America provisions. These are American taxpayer dollars. They ought to be spent on American jobs and American equipment made in America. And I thank you for having that in the last year's bill, and even in a higher percentage. Stay with it. You certainly have the support of many of us in Congress, because we want to see those jobs in America. In that area, there is now before you a request from Amtrak to waive the Buy America provisions for some 28 train sets for the Amtrak high-speed rail here on the East Coast. You'll be getting a letter. You got a letter from me. You'll get a letter from many others in this committee saying, don't provide that waiver. If that waiver goes forward, we will not be building those manufacturing facilities here in the United States for the future, as well as the Amtrak proposals. I don't know if you want to comment on this. I'd love to hear you say no waiver coming, but if you'd like to comment, please do.
Well, thank you, first of all, Congressman, for the incredible support for the administration's proposal. It is, we think, a very targeted, focused, and effective proposal, and we appreciate your support. On the issue of the Amtrak trains, that is a measure that is under review by the Department, and I think I'd be getting over my skis by commenting here, but I take your point, and we will obviously take that back into the Department.
Well, I fully expected you to duck, bob, and weave on that one, but
I tried
know where we're coming from, and since you wrote a very high standard into last year's Grow America bill, and I hope in the coming bill you'll carry out your own policies in this regard. With regard to another issue, Mr. Balletta raised this issue of the heavy trucks and the super trailers, supersized. There's a great deal of concern in California about this. We don't now have these in California. Many of the local officials, state, county, mayors, and the rest are very concerned, just as you heard from the previous discussion. I share those concerns, and I would hope that the study that is underway would take into account local highways and also the comments of local police, sheriffs, highway patrols, which do not appear to be in the study thus far. If you'd care to comment on expanding the study to include these concerns, I would appreciate it.
We are still working through desk scan revisions. Release of technical reports still have to be done. But there is another round of public input that is built into our process. So there's still time for us to get the types of comments that you're talking about. Now, we'll make sure that you're aware of when that time will come in the process.
I thank you for that. I would note that the local agencies, police, fire, as well as mayors and counties are very, very concerned about their input into the current study being insufficient or actually ignored, and we hope that this would not be in the final study. I thank you once again for your leadership on the overall transportation issue. Grow America was a very good bill. I'm sure that the next version, by extending to 6 years, is even better. Please carry forward the policies. I yield back my time, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.